Hey, to really start things off on a good note, I really want to clear the air and set some ground rules. You see, if you play Warmonger, I don't think you yourself are a boring person. No, really, it's just the hero and the way it's played. You can sit here and call me a salty word main all you really like this video, but I still want you to hear me out. Also, before I really start this video, I just want to say, if we can hit 1,000 likes on this video, I know it's a lot, but if we hit 1,000, I will main Warmonger for the rest of the summer until I hit rep 60. If that happens, well, you'll see it on stream. Fun fact, Warmonger is actually the only hero in the game to be a second Vanguard class in a faction. Every single faction other than the Outlanders has one Vanguard. And then it's just, they have two. To really dive deep into the real history of Warmonger, we have to really go back in time to one of the most bleak and boring time periods of my life, and probably yours too, unless you're like 65, to then shout out my grandpa's subs. Warmonger was released on August 6th of 2020, and if you could put the pieces of the puzzle together, yes, this was the time where COVID-19 was slamming the shit out of US and Canada in full force, meaning that nobody at Ubisoft Montreal was actually allowed to work on anything in the office anymore because developing For Honor was just not an essential job. Hashtag fuck you Trudeau. This meant that this was going to be the hardest year on For Honor's development cycle. And it really did kind of show, because for the next year and a half, For Honor went from releasing 4 heroes a year with balanced patches and big updates that came with every hero to a staggering 2 heroes, and in between those hero releases, then would be the balanced patches instead of, new heroes. Warmonger was the first hero to actually release in the COVID era, and I won't lie, it was probably one of the best releases of a hero I've ever seen. I don't know if I'll find or any recorded evidence, but I do remember back in 2020, I was playing the Tester Metal game mode with friends around midnight, the game buffered and did a small update, and then all of a sudden those campaign characters all turned into Warmongers. This was so cool in my eyes and really fun to play because Ubisoft just kind of threw this hero at me without me knowing anything about it, and I had to learn against the AI. This made the AI for once an actual threat and had me worried. Then we actually got our hands on the hero for the first time, and man, it was, all I could say is that the COVID development really showed its hands here. To say this hero on launch was in an overpowered state would be a light way to put it. You see, I don't know if Ubisoft did it on purpose, but in real life, everyone did have to stay 6 feet away from each other to avoid infection. So her feats did the exact same fucking thing. Day 1 corruption had a special place in Ubisoft, so we really didn't think this one through all the way, did we, Chest? For anyone who didn't have to deal with Warmonger's overpowered corruption feats, let me make it short and sweet. In the current patch of today's game, anyone with corruption will take damage and cause friendly players to take damage if they are in the area of corruption. This also counts as officers and commanders in breach. In the Day 1 version of Warmonger, anyone with corruption will take and receive damage from all friendly targets on the map. Yes, this included minions in the mid lane. This was the pinnacle of Warmonger's blatant overpoweredness. The game plan was so simple. Run into mid lane, farm enough minions to get level 1 feat, and anyone who dared walk into mid fight with you, you would pop corruption, hit them with a single time, and their entire minion lane would drop dead in 1 second. If a minion on your team even caught a whiff of your corruption, they died on the spot. Not only that, but the minion would also cause you to take insane amounts of damage because any minion that would walk into your aura of corruption would instantly die and remove 10 to 15 HP from you. This was the meta for Warmonger for basically, the entire game. Farm mid, go gank with their team, and if any opponent dared to go farm in mid lane, they would have their corruption feats ready to go, and they've basically signed their own death warrant. Now I can really hear this question being asked in the comments as we speak. You said that this hero was really boring, yet you've gone over 700 words yapping about how really good she is and as a solid hero. Yeah, now that I've covered the launch of the hero, we can finally get to my point. See, when I made the poll about Gladiator and Warmonger, I got a lot of hate from people saying, she's not mid, she's solid, or you're wrong about Warmonger, she's cool. But the most said thing about Warmonger was that she was just better Warden. And I am so glad that this was the most commented thing, because it just proves my point entirely. Warmonger is what we call an Echo Fighter, and if anyone that doesn't know what an Echo Fighter is, let me point you over to Smash Bros. So, an Echo Fighter is basically a character with the same exact moveset of another hero, but reskinned to look different, but play the exact same. Warmonger did not follow the rules of an Echo Fighter because she is literally just a better version of Warden down to the T. Let's go down the list. Warmonger's reused Warden's opening light attack animations down to the exact same frame. Warmonger with recent buffs can now go into the same bash startup as Warden, but her only difference is that she can't continue after, being all of her bash finishers are well finishers. Not only did they have the exact same one, but Warmonger had hyper armor on level 3 finisher, making hers better and safer than Warden's. Eventually Warden got this patch too, 3 years later. And yes, I hear you. Oh, but the range on Wardens is way better. Nobody, and I mean nobody, past rep 8 on Warden uses his bash for his range. Every single Warden main will tell you that 90% of the time they're going for level 3, they are going in between kissing distance of the person that they are bashing. Nobody uses it for range. Warmonger had a gap closer with the same distance and use of Warden's new move, Valiant Breakthrough, but instead of being a dogshit variant of Valiant Breakthrough, she had undodgeable and feintable properties on it, just making it outright better. Later on and very recently, Warmonger was now just buffed to have the same exact bash opener as Warden, going from a 300 MS startup to a 100 MS startup, and when I was planning on making a video with both of these bashes, I realized something. Something that's so small, yet so irritating that I don't think Warden mains actually know about. Warmonger actually gets more damage on her bashes. Yes, she does, and it's, well, 1 damage. But let me just go on why I hate this. Warmonger was changed on... I can't find the date anymore, but she was buffed to have her bash cause bleed damage to change the way she was from being a Warden clone. In my eyes, reducing her overall physical damage and adding bleed on a bash was cool, but also caused problems for me. Having a bash that confirms damage before actually hitting the physical attack landed never sat right with me, and bleed being the powerhouse that it was and still is, with amazing synergies like PK and Nobu and Shaman, they were giving me an upset stomach when I was reading these patch notes. But I knew since the physical damage was being nerfed, it really wouldn't matter that much, right? No! Not only it's a bleed status effect, but Warmonger just gets more damage on her bashes. Again, it's so small, yet so frustrating to see a hero that I poured my entire For Honor career into to be insulted like this. And what truly irks me about Warmonger is she has a lot of unique stuff. Her out of stamina parry punish that does 30 damage. But it's just worthless because it's only 30 damage. Compare that to her powerhouse of zone into top heavy finisher damage. It's just never worth it. Since we're on the topic of impale, let's just keep talking about it. Any pair will allow Warmonger to impale someone, sending them into a wall or a ledge. If the Warmonger makes contact with a wall, she will do a whopping 30 bleed damage. 30 damage on a heavy parry. Let me remind you that Lawbringer lost his ability to impale charge people after a heavy parry because for the exact same reasons. It was too easy for Lawbringer to get a wall spot on heavy parry. And yes, I know Lawbringer he can continue his chains, but Warmonger still has frame advantage after impale, making you have to make a read on if she's going to do a light, heavy, or zone attack. How would you feel as, let's say, a Kensei main? You spent 80 reps into your hero knowing he wasn't the best, but you loved him anyway. Ubisoft then one day decides, hey guys, new samurai hero is releasing, and then you realize that he has Kensei's entire moveset, but enhanced, better, and more viable than Kensei will ever be. You probably wouldn't feel very good, would you? I've tried so hard to put this hero to rep 80. You know, I really have, but every attempt at grinding her just ends up in me saying the same thing. Wow, she's boring, I've already played this hero for 80 reps. This part it's just me, maybe it's other people too, but the English voice lines really just kill me. For Honor's voice acting 9% of the time is some of the best voice acting I've heard in any game. But the 10%, well, you know, that's I would give credit to the fact that she has mid-fight voice lines, and I love little taunts in mid-fight. I really wish more heroes had this, you know, in their kit. But, you know, the original voice acting had to go if that was the case, and you know how that ended up. I really want to like Warmonger, because she has some really cool designs, armors, and executions, but I feel like I'm just playing a better version of Warden. Literally an objectively better version.
Why is one just
I just spent years making this character only for Ubisoft to make a better version of it. If you guys made it this far in the video, I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a
Berserker bot, and he wants to kill himself, it looks like.
Man!
He's suicidal.